Good morning, everybody. We are glad you're here. Happy Easter. You look great. Bunch of Easter eggs. You're adorable. I went for the Easter egg look, too. All right. We're glad to start our service a little different. It is a different day, and it's been a different day. Thank you for those who've been a part of it. At 7 o'clock this morning, several of us met at the baseball field, the River Riders field, and watched the sun come up together. We sang some worship songs and studied His Word together, but just to celebrate the sunrise, because on this day, Jesus rose from the dead. All right, we came back, we had breakfast. It was a great time, all right? A lot of people we got to thank, but I got to start with the pancakes. All right, Kathy, wherever she is. All right, thank you. Those were amazing. All right, but we had a great time of fellowship downstairs a little while, and then we had Sunday school. Thank you for our Sunday school teachers. Thank you for those that were here. If you missed Sunday school, I'm telling you, I wish you had been in Sunday school, because I got to sit in Woody's class. We talked about personal sin until we were about tired of talking to personal sin. But we are all sinners. We have all been formed in, so we don't have to live in sin. And Jesus took our sin to that big bloody cross, and He nailed it there so that we can always live in the light of His grace. Isn't that what's great about Easter? Listen, that's resurrection, and we're going to celebrate resurrection today. We're going to begin by remembering sacrifice. All right? In the letters that Paul writes to the Corinthians, I love the Corinthians. I have learned to love the Corinthians. When I was a younger person, I really didn't like the Corinthians. All right, actually, the word Corinthianize even has a definition. You can look it up. These were sinning people. These were people that were just constantly falling. And God used the Apostle Paul to write some letters to them called 1st and 2nd Corinthians, where primarily he helped them figure out how to do church. They were here on a Sunday morning. We're trying to do the best we can to do church. We're never going to perfect it. If we were, we'd probably be at a bigger one. All right? But we're sinners, and we're doing the best we can. And in this letter that Paul wrote to the Corinthians, they really struggled with this. You see, Jesus had said, if you're going to go to a church often, He didn't say how often, so He said, I want to help you to do a better job. So He told them, first things first, before you come to this, you need to prepare this. All right, now, a lot of things are correlated with sin. Hands are, feet are correlated with sin all through the Bible. But the seat of sin often comes from the heart. Now, it doesn't sound very Southern, but it's very scriptural. All right, now, I want to remind you why it doesn't sound very Southern. I love Southern people so much I married the most Southern woman. All right, and oftentimes Southerners will say, you know, they've got a good heart. Sounds very Southern. More scriptural would be, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. See, our heart is a place of sin. We conceive it and concoct it, all in our heart. Ever before it comes out of our hands or out of our head, out of our mouth, sin starts deep inside of us. And Jesus said, through Paul, to the church at Corinth, the sacrifice of Jesus. So we're starting a little different today. I think you understand why, because we're not in Good Friday anymore. All right, but to prepare ourselves for the worship that we're about to be a part of, for the word that's about to be preached to you about resurrection, power, we need to prepare our hearts. So I'm going to ask you to help me to prepare you can be saved. So I want to encourage you to make that decision. Breaking your heart and drawing you to Him, you need to say yes to Him. So I'm going to pray for you in just a second. That can be your moment to say yes to Jesus. I'm also talking to people that are just like I am right now. I'm a sinning. I know that's shocking to some of you because you may not see it in me, but hang out with me. You'll start noticing the warts. All right, I'm a sinning Christian. I'm a Christian that still stumbles and falls, and I need my hands clean, and I need my heart prepared. So we're going to go to God. We're going to pray, and we're going to ask God to speak to those of us who are Christians so that we can live right and prepare our hands and our hearts to receive, but also for those who need to come to know Him. This can be your day. And I'd encourage you, tell somebody. That's your first obligation as a new convert, a new Christian, is to let somebody know that God's doing some work. That I ask you if you will stand with me. Might get your mind a little more active. Some of us are yawning already because we've been here since 6:30 this morning. All right, but this is the time, hopefully and prayerfully, you can take your mind off of your sin and off of your stuff and just let's go to him in prayer. God, thank you for this privilege it is to gather around this table. It's been prepared by loving saints, God, so that we can remember the gift of your Son. Father, the greatest pain that's ever been inflicted on a human body was put on him. God, the separation of he and you because of our sin. God, with the sacrifice of your Son, Jesus Christ. He is the sinless, spotless, perfect Lamb of God, sent to take away the sin of this world. God, I don't know about others.